Hey there, ladies and gentlemen, I am just Jake.
And I'm Raucous Ron.
And we're here with the Philly Liberty Bells All-Stars taking on
the Kansas City Roller Warriors. So this is going to be an interesting battle. We've got number 19 versus number 29. So a little bit more parity, hopefully, than Kansas City has seen earlier in the tournament, facing number 3 and number 6 in Texas and Rose, respectively.
Absolutely, but Liberty Bells took a loss last night. They're going to, Liberty Bells want to really come back. They want to make a stake for the standings, so they're going to be fighting hard here. We were talking about the weekend that Kansas City has had so far.
Yeah, big losses, lots of points. But you know what? Kansas City has really held their head high. It's amazing. They had that loss to Rose, and they thought they had a lot to work on. They came back and put a game plan together for Texas, and despite the score, they thought they executed their plan and played as well as they could against a much superior opponent with a much deeper bench. So, you know, Kansas City excited for this bout right now.
Well, the thing with Kansas City, we were talking about, Kansas City, after this weekend, everything else is going to be a breeze. Going in for the rest of their season, going into playoffs, nothing will be as challenging as this weekend for them. So they're setting their self up so good for the rest of the season there for that.
That's right. They know they've got a lot of things to work on, and they are ready for that challenge. By the time playoffs come around, you know, I think they're going to be ready for them. They're going to know what to expect because they're not going to face any stiffer competition than you do in Texas.
And they're going to learn all the lessons here this weekend.
All right, let's run you through the rosters real quick. For Kansas City, we've got 0 Babriel, 11 Barbarian, / Annie Mall, 118 Raina Payne, 15 Trauma, 219 Road Hash, 22 Ruth Canal, 24 Bruiser, 34 Accelerator, 38 Hydrogen Bombshell, 47 Dr. Dread, 71 Chewy, 84 Tough Noogies, 99 Ram, and D11R Rump Wrecker.
All right, and for the Philly Liberty Bells, we have 06 Castro, a.k.a. Violet Temper. Number 16, Brazilian Nut. Number 18, Vanessa V. Diva Sights. Number 24-7, Devoid of Mercy. Number 401, Tarantula. Number 44, Fully Automatic. Number 609, Hot Rod Hussy. Number 7, Clam Jammer. Number 80, Papa Roach. Number 85, Teflon Donna. Number 86, Wax Poetic. Number 957, Ginger Vitus. Number 99, Russian Bayou. And 1818, and Frankenstein.
So yeah, Philly, you know, a veteran team, but they've definitely got a bunch of people that they're developing here. You can see the talent there, but you know, they've dropped off some from their dominance of the past. And another team that's kind of in a rebuilding phase.
Well, a big thing for Philly, both the Liberty Bells and the Independence Dolls, is they have a lot of transfers that have come in this year. So this is their weekend to get everyone to together and gel as a team, fall into the Liberty Bells system, and set themselves up to be competitive for the rest of the year. They're going to be competitive. Philly, always a competitive team, but they just need to build these new skaters into the system to... You know, it was a loss last night to Rose City, but they held it in. They played. They made a nice comeback at the end, kept the score relatively close, despite their ninth. So with their 19th position against Rose's 6, still not going to, I don't know the final stat change on that, but they're not going to lose too much ground. In fact, maybe gain some of the rankings. But this is a great opportunity at the beginning of the year to set everybody in motion, get everybody in the system, and they're going to look forward tonight to more opportunities to do that.
That is right. They are a proud team with a lot of history, tons of history between these two teams. They've seen each other many times in the playoffs. Last year, Philly knocked KC out of the playoffs, and that was a fairly close game, closer than a lot of people thought it was going to be, with Kansas City making big surges, and then looked like it was going to be close throughout, and you know, Philly took it in the end, but KC was proud of their effort there. KC, first time last year not going to the championship, so that was tough. And you know, they got some building to do, but you know, they're ready for it.
The fun thing about this matchup is how many of these skaters have seen each other over the last 9-10 years of Derby. I mean,
Yeah.
how
We've
many
got
times
veterans.
has Bruiser and Animal and Teflon Don been in the same pack against each other together? Like, how many times have they seen each other?
So cool to see the sport evolve and the history of it. The game that we started with is so dissimilar from this game now. You know, it's very interesting how we're seeing all this tornado blocking and the packs and the turnaround stuff. So we're in the process of an evolving game, and it's happening right here at the Big O in Eugene, Washington. Oregon.
I was like, where are we?
I don't want to get in trouble here.
You're gonna get some angry tweets for that, young man. Don't you know where you?
Well, hey, it would make up for it if I said my middle name is Eugene. So there you go.
His last name's Washington, so it's totally understandable. All right. Looks like we're having the captains. So we're a little behind on this track right now. For those tuning in, there was a very unfortunate injury earlier in the day that offset the starts of these bouts. So we got Mr. Rock, Mr. Eric Rock, head ref here, having the captains meeting with all the coaches, captains, all smiling very happily.
Yeah. Both teams are energized and pumped up. But how about the teams that we've had here at the Big O? We've had teams travel from Japan to come here.
Scotland, I saw Ulrike play earlier. A great bout against Tucson. That was really fun.
Yeah, really. So a wide assortment of men's, women's, juniors teams, and this tournament is legendary for its party. So I'm looking forward to enjoying that as well.
I believe you, Yo. I don't know why, but I do. Yeah.
One of the great parts of the roller derby family.
Yeah, no, but a lot of great competition here this weekend. Another full day of it. Later on tonight, after this bout, we have Texas Rose City.
Oh, that's the feature. That is the feature bout right there of the day, I would say, because 3 versus 6, and Rose looks spectacular this weekend, and Texas looks like they are in competition for the Hydra right now.
Yeah, they look like the #2 team from last year, which they were.
That's right.
Yeah, so
that's right. And it's the same team, essentially. Texas has so many of the same players, bringing them back. Watching on the track earlier, you know, Polygon, she looks better than ever, and she was dominant on the track last year. And so that team, and you also notice with Texas that the entire bench can jam, the entire bench can block. They're well-rounded.
Yeah, and the entire bench did jam at one point or another.
That is right. Yeah, the second half they came out with a completely different set of jammers than they had in the first half. They said, you guys are done, we're going to pull in a new set, and it wasn't because they didn't do well.
Yeah, it was just like we have all options on the table.
Exactly.
Saw the same thing from Texas B team earlier. Same thing, rotating the entire the jammer roster, which I like. I like seeing that. I'm shocked.
Oh boy.
I am shocked. Bruiser and Eddie Mall have stepped out as blockers for the Kansas City Roller Warriors. I am shocked. Rock is wrong.
So Kansas City gonna send out Team USA Trauma on the line to jam.
Team USA, and then we're going, yeah, nice. I like
Tarantula
this.
for Philly.
Tarantula out for the first jam here.
Wow.
For Philly. She jammed once or twice last night, but they're putting her out first. I like it.
Oh.
And not lead jammer, passed a skater out of play, so Trump still has an opportunity to be lead jammer.
Well, kind of a surprise here for both of them. Kansas City doesn't usually put trauma in, and they didn't against Texas or Rose. So here she is starting off on the jam line against Philly. So
it looks like a Tarantula made a pretty easy pass through that defense there for 5 points. And Trauma got the lead jammer. There wasn't one assessed earlier, so she calls off the jam. And we are set up. That is Vanessa Seitz, a.k.a. V-Diva, on the jammer line for Philly. And that is number 47, Dr. Dread, jamming for Kansas City Roller Warriors.
Looks like we got number 47, Dr. Dread, on the line for the Warriors.
And we are off, and it looks like Animal and Bruiser still out there playing defense. V-Diva gets through the wall, their lead jammer.
Dr. Dread for Kansas City. Be jamming. She's recycled to the back of the pack right now.
That is 06 Castro with the drop back. And it looks like a low block call assessed on V-Diva, taken down. That was Bruiser on that hit.
So V-Diva taking a trip to the penalty box. Dr. Dread on a power jam for Kansas City, fighting the front wall on her own as Kansas City plays the passive offense.
Tough Noogies went in there for a second to try to open it up, but it looks like the dropout happens, courtesy of 86 Wax Poetic.
Dr. Dread now scoring points, but
Wax Poetic go for the inside hit this time as opposed to outside, just to show you the Wax Poetic as variety.
Dr. Dread against that tornado front wall of Philly, looking for an opening on her toe stops, gets the corner, grabbing 5 points for Kansas City, putting them on the board.
Vanessa Seitz is back and got a diamond defense to deal with there up front from Kansas City. Nice controlled pace there with that defense. And Vanessa gets out for 5.
Dr. Dread grinding in the pack with Philly.
Looks like she's got Castro on there. Around the outside for V-Diva, 5 more.
Road Hash makes a valiant hit towards her, but didn't budge her.
We applaud the effort.
Yeah, these skaters came to play. You can tell they're out there to hit hard.
Wax Poetic took a penalty there. I did not see that, I'm afraid. There was for a hit on the inside, though. And we got 3-3 on that last pass. Philly holding on to the edge. 18-8. That is number 16 for Philly, Brazilian Nut. Saw a lot of her jamming last night. And number 22 for KC, Ruth Canal. And going for the offense there in front. Bruiser trying to open up that front wall. 957 gingivitis, we all know. And Kansas City, Ruth Canal gets lead jammer for KC. And Philly caught up against that front wall there. Finally gets the pass there. Brazilian Nut on the initial pass. 5-point scoring pass there for Ruth Canal.
Looks like we've got ourselves a bout here.
I don't know if Ruth Canal got anything out of that last pass before she called it off. Nope, 0-0 on that, but KC bringing it into 5 within Philly. You know what I love? I've just loved for years about Kansas City is how shameless they are about keeping their high impact blockers in the pack. Like
definitely.
I love that, and I think a lot of teams can learn something from that because it is effective, it has impact, and teams that play egalitarian too much, they lose opportunities.
Yeah, Bruiser last year in the playoffs was in Richmond more than any other player there at the tournament. So here we go. We've got Clam Jammer breaking free for Philly. She's scored a lot of points this weekend and certainly an up-and-coming powerhouse. Crashes into the pack, but breaking through, stays in bounds. It didn't look pretty, but it was effective.
Well, accidental defense from Peter Babrila. She was trying to get through the inside, took out Clam Jammer on that, but Clam Jammer was able to keep her skates in bounds. Now she attacks the inside, and she's going to get the back block for that. That was on Raina Payne, number 118. That's another power jam here for Kansas City.
There you go. Peter Gabriel. She looked pretty good against Texas. She's a rookie with the All-Stars, and not a whole lot of skating experience in Derby, but here she is playing Philly, Texas, all these tough teams, and she's got a lot of strength and obviously a lot of room to improve, and that's a great thing because that's called potential.
I had to say, Offense has got to be more of a priority for Kansas City here. The power gems are not what they were, and you need to capitalize on your opportunities, and the best way to do that is offense. And right now, the passive offense, leaving your jammer out to dry, we've just killed the entire power jam.
I could not agree more. I was saying it when I was announcing here on WFTDA.TV, KC Rose game. I said, you can't leave your jammer out there to dry. Play some aggressive. It doesn't matter if you're playing defense if you're not getting your jammer out there to stop the jam.
We're trading points there, but now we got another back block call on Clam Jammer, her second one this jam.
That's bad news for Philly. They've had foul problems in the past, but there we go with Peter Gabriel with a juke move, slicing through the line for Philly.
So KC not taking the lead back yet. KC 27, Philly 30. It's still 3-point favoring Philly. If active offense was taking place there, if there was an offensive play there, that would have been a great opportunity for KC to take the lead and take some initiative. Right now, Philly's just giving it to them by going into the penalty box.
Absolutely. That is so true. And I think they're going to watch this film. And that's a cut track. No. Yep. Didn't even have to signal it.
Yeah, she stepped her foot incidentally into the inside and didn't take the moment to run back. If she would have ran back, she could have avoided that track cut penalty. So this is the first, I believe, power jam for Philly after 3.
Illegal procedure on Clam Jammer. That is another one for her.
That's 3. Now that should, because there was an overlap, that we'll have to do the rest of the time on the track there for Rum Shaker. So that's 4 power jams for KC. Against the one
well,
to
here
offset
they're playing some offense, and it works. Look at that. And that is Rump Wrecker. Rump Wrecker on the track. She is another rookie. Notice we've got a lot of those.
Now, I like Kansas City setting themselves up in front of the wall to get that offensive opportunity. But Philly, they know what to do. They get back out front, and they start defending.
Oh, there we go. Tarantula knocking Rump Wrecker out of bounds on the front end, preventing those points.
And Teflon Donna getting back there to force Rump Wrecker back to the back of the pack.
Oh, this is going to be a fight out here. Folks, call your friends in Kansas City and Philadelphia and let them know they need to tune in to WFTDA.TV and check out this action from the Big O, because this is where it's at right here. Competitive WFTDA.
Tough Noogies gets the direction of play call, their number 84, and that opens up a hole for the initial pass for Clam Jammer. Clam Jammer on a scoring opportunity with just 10 seconds left here as Rump Wrecker's still stuck in that pack.
She got knocked down, but not out. Bam, again, that is the second time in this jam in the same spot. She has been put down on the ground. That is Frankie Frankenstein.
That was Road Rash with the, yeah. And so, off shooting the score a little bit, but I believe Philly will still hold on to the edge on this one. Looks like we got 33-30, still Philly lead, and Vanessa Seitz back on the line for Philly.
And Dr. Dread for Kansas City.
Vanessa Seitz gets around the outside, gets caught back in. A great defense from KC there.
Yeah.
And it's not enough though, lead jammer Vanessa Seitz.
And Dr. Dread is through on her scoring pass, but V-Diva coming up on Kansas City's 3-wall, looking for a juke.
Inside, muscled through, gets the quick 4, calls it off. But I think Dr. Dread might have picked some up there.
Yeah, she was up in the pack.
2 points there for KC.
Good job there, Dr. Dread of Kansas City. She's had a kind of a breakout tournament in really tough situations and worked her way into the lineup.
Looks like Tarantula's back there on the line for Philly.
And Trauma, I'd know that style anywhere. Look at that. That is how she got Team USA. It was also up for the Dual Threat Award. And this one can do everything. Generally, we need her in the pack. It is beautiful to see her jam as well. Trauma creates her own blocks as thus.
Looks like Tarantula was able to push out 20 feet for her initial pass. Caught up just in time to force the call off. That's going to be 3 points there for Kansas City, making it a 2-point bout. Philly lead.
So a close one. Love to see one of those battles that comes down to the end here. That makes for good TV.
Good .TV. 3-3 on the lead jam contest so far, and we have a pretty even bout.
Yeah, that lead jam so important for the scoring opportunities. You got to get it. Both teams playing offense and defense out there.
Brazilian Nut going defense on her jamming just to make sure she gets it. But
Ruth Canal gets that lead jammer position, but Brazilian Nut comes out playing defense on her. Ruth Canal in control.
She wants to force the call off. Success.
Well, you know, if you don't get the lead jam, you can't do better than that.
Yeah, yeah. That's what you want. You want 0-0. At least. You want them to forget their lead jammer, not call it off, and go through and get some points. That's really what you want, but that's not realistic. Vanessa V Diva Sights again on the line. I think we're going to see her in a higher rotation there, Raucous Ron.
That's right. And we will see Peter Gabriel for Kansas City. I do believe she's kind of hiding back there behind Vanessa.
And Peter Gabriel going for the outside. Nope, inside. And V Diva likes to go through on the other hand. We have a multiplayer block there. Assist on trauma there. You cannot hold on to your teammate to block the path of an opponent, and lead jammer for V Diva.
Oh, good work on the outside for Peter Gabriel, staying in bounds. Took a couple big hits, but that toe stop work, we're just seeing her develop throughout this tournament.
Philly were ready for an offensive opening in the center for a very quick pass for V Diva, who crawls over the inside this time.
More like an apex step.
Yeah, like one big step. 5 points there for Vanessa Sights.
Pack all grinding together on turn one. Peter Gabriel recycled by Teflon Donna, and 5 points for Vanessa Sights.
I like that she's trusting on her blocker so she can get those jammer lap points there.
Yep. And here is Trauma doing offensive blocking out front. Almost got Peter Gabriel free, but got caught on the front end. Meanwhile, Sights 5 more.
Wide open lane there for Sights. She keeps attacking the inside, and it's working out great for her. Another 5-point scoring pass. Philly breaking this open. Peter Gabriel almost made it through on the inside, but she caught by Philly's defense there, but got 20 feet there.
Sometimes that 20 feet looks like a whole lot.
BD's Vanessa Sights attacks the middle of that wall, engages the shoulder, so no call on that knockdown, although I see Kansas City's coach had something to say about that. 28 points on that?
Yep, 28-point jam, and that's how Philly does it when they do it. They got, you know, control the other jammer, and then Sights goes out and picks up some monster points. We've seen it time and time again, according to the playbook.
Brazilian Nut jamming there for Philly Liberty Bells. Attack in the middle through.
Rump wrecker for Kansas City.
Both jammers engaging just a ton of defense right now. Both both walls doing triangle defense there, bud.
We've got a clinic on defense on track one.
Brazilian Nut starting to stretch out a little bit. They're trying to get her out of bounds, but she's doing a great job staying inside the line. She does. Takes that last hit, lead jammer.
Wow, she took a lot of hits there to get out and looked kind of happy when she got best the last one.
A bruiser across the track, catches Brazilian Nut with the hit and drops her back.
I tell you what, Bruiser, one of the greatest skaters who ever lived, in my opinion.
They're calling that a skating out of bounds on Brazilian Nut. I don't know if she, I mean, she took the hit from Bruiser, but I don't know if she skated out afterwards or. But yeah, that's a skating out of bounds call. If you skate out of bounds to avoid a hit, that's a penalty. That's a power jam.
Well, maybe she was trying to avoid the hit. She got hit anyway.
Yeah.
She was going to skate out of bounds, and Bruce caught her. But that, again, Bruce, you know, that kind of thing, we've seen it for many, many years, and she can do it all night long.
And Bruce set that hit up perfectly. She went to the inside of the track there. Boom. And now KC with the offense, exactly what we talked about earlier. Right?
And then that was Bruce. Bruce sealed off the wall, opened the inside, and created that hole. I love seeing Bruce do the offensive blocking. KC might have found a combination here that works.
Now they're able to capitalize. Bring this back a little bit. They're now within 16 and on another scoring pass here. Brazilian Nut finds the inside line there and picks up 4 points. She was sitting on those as she went to the penalty box.
Philly losing a blocker to the box. We'll have to go all the way around.
And that is time. Let's see if we got any more out of Rumprecker.
And that phenomenal jam for Bruce. She ends it by knocking Brazilian Nut to her knees right before the whistle.
Just because.
Exactly.
So KC climbing back in, 52 to Philly 69. Philly giving up a lot of penalty opportunities here for KC.
Both teams have seen some serious penalty problems in the past.
All right, that's Tarantula jamming 401 there for Philly.
Tarantula gets out. She's lead jammer. Trauma for Kansas City, catching up fast.
I like they put in two just strength-based jammers who are able to make their own openings. Great call-off from Trauma, but the whistle, as the whistle came, it looks like 2 points were picked up by KC in the exchange.
Wow. Well, I'm enjoying this one here. Just Jake over here on the mic. You are a maestro of information. It's an honor to be on the mic with you.
You give me a lot of credit, but I appreciate it. Thanks, bud. Is this the first time we called together?
I think so.
I think so.
Yeah, we've been to tournaments together for years, champs and all that.
But yeah, this
we're on the call.
And we're having a good time doing it.
That's
and we're
right.
having a good time bringing you to this bout. Up on the jammer line now.
That is Ruth Canal for Kansas City. Slices through, and
Clam Jammer gets caught up behind number 84 for Kansas City. Tough Noogies, living up to her name.
Yeah, that's right. Tough Noogies, longtime veteran for Kansas City, delivers huge blows. Known for those. Clam Jammer. Oh, look at the seal.
Clam Jammer with such speed goes racing through there. They don't catch her. They miss the call off. 4-2 favoring Philly on that, Raucous Ron.
My goodness, that's what you do not want to happen in the lead jammer position. You're in control of the clock. Clam Jammer particularly fast on that one, and Philly was sealing in that inside, sealing the defense to the outside.
And very successful with that. You got to be listening for that call off. You got to keep your ears open for that and ready to shut that down. Vanessa Seitz, number 18, jamming for Philly Liberty Bells.
And we've got Peter Gabriel for Kansas City.
With a nice extra step around the outside line, V-Diva pushes out 20 feet very quickly.
Dr. Dredd, some nice seal blocks. Opened up the door a little bit for her. Dr. Dredd, she's been out there as pivot last couple of plays, but this is her first time blocking in this tournament.
V-Diva blast open the middle of that wall for a quick 5 points and on another scoring pass.
V-Diva crashing through, leaving 3 Kansas City players on the ground. One of them, Bruce, is holding her back. Like, what?
And Philly going offense there. Opening up that outside lane. Another quick pass there. And these are all 5 the hard way. You know, Vanessa Seitz is passing all 5. She's not getting any penalty box points. These are all live humans that she's passing over and over again.
Definitely. And V-Diva can hold on to that line so well, taking huge shots. And then, yeah, back block major for Dr. Dredd.
And as if this jam wasn't already the V-Diva show, now she's getting offense.
Yeah, V-Diva tough to contend with, but Tough Noogies with the big hit puts her out of bounds, tries to run backwards. V-Diva gonna let that one go. It did pick up 4, but it's...
That segue was handed to you on a silver platter.
Absolutely. Gotta love those.
Philly breaking it open, yeah, with the V-Diva jam there, 96-56 for Casey. I believe that's Brazilian Nut on the line. Yep.
So the score looks kind of accurate to the standings right now, but good to see Kansas City so feisty after that big loss to Texas. They have come to play.
Yeah, they're definitely, I like that. This is third bout in 2 days of incredible teams, and they are fighting hard. V-Diva 74 points so far. 74. Philly
That is
102.
like 70.
That is 73% of the score there.
That's good announcer math. We're on it.
Easiest math we've had to do. We're going to start this Brazilian Nut in the power jam here. Wow.
What a 1-2 punch. You've got V-Diva, big, powerful, creates her own blocks, and then you've got Brazilian Nut, so quick and elusive. Right now pushing against Kansas City's wall, stretching it out. Bruce and Annie Mall doing the best they can to hold her back for as long as they can, trying to kill some penalty, but she is out lead jammer for Philly.
06, Castro went in for a little offense in the initial attack there to set the speed going. This time it's number 86, Wax Poetic. We call that in Rose, we call that passive-aggressive offense, where it looks like you're going in aggressive, but then you pull back and it's passive.
Right. Dr. Dredd out of the penalty box on the floor, gets knocked down by this big defense of Philly, and now out of bounds. They're running backwards. Kansas City seals off to prevent the backwards bridging.
Brazilian Nut just gracefully hits the inside of that line there and sneaks past on that last 5-point scoring pass. This time Kansas City's ready for her in the inside.
Kansas City unable to seal this time, and Dr. Dredd's going to have to drop way back around the track.
And everybody's skating backwards. Well, again, she's going for the inside, but she got her points. Brazilian Nut calls it. 2-0 on that last pass.
My goodness.
Philly extending the lead 114 to KC's 56. 7 minutes in the first period.
These skaters are playing with so much energy. You wouldn't think they'd gone through what they'd been through in this tournament so far, and really that's what you're looking for out of a tournament like this, is to get tournament experience, playing game after game against tough opponents, and both of them doing a good job right here.
All right, looks like Tarantula's back. She is, and she's lead jammer again there, Roxron.
Yeah, Frankenstein opened the door, and there's Trauma through, almost through. There she gets.
She goes underneath with a nice pirouette there to get through on that pass.
You gotta love that skating style. She comes up to people and just runs straight into them with her butt backwards and then spins around them.
So late call off there for Tarantula. Ends up being 4-2 favoring Philly there. I like seeing Tarantula jam, though. I like them relying on her power. She just has no problem breaking over those walls.
Well, that is one skater it is difficult to take to the line. So strong, a very powerful skater, and can, once again, like I was saying about Trauma, create her own blocks.
It's almost a requirement now in Derby. If you're a jammer, power is as much a priority as is footwork and speed.
Well, yeah, and so many of them, instead of trying to avoid the skaters, come in with the hip. Right now, we've got Ruth Canal, lead jammer for Kansas City. Kansas City needs some of these lead jam calls, the opportunities to score points, with V-Diva putting up big points sometimes.
And that's Clam Jammer who makes it out on the her initial pass. Ruth Canal with a well-timed call if she got the point, but a second later would have given up points.
Right.
Dun,
so we'll see V-Diva once again with Dr. Dredd. We've seen this matchup before. A little bit of a size difference there. Dr. Dredd kind of a diminutive jammer, and V-Diva, of course, a
pretty powerful one.
Pretty powerful one.
And V-Diva attacking the inside of that wall there. And she's attacking Philly blockers as well as Kansas City blockers. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Dr. Dredd seeing a little bit of light on the outside there, Raucous Ron.
Yeah, she's digging, but Philly recycling well. Meanwhile, Vanessa
goes underneath the entire wall there.
We're seeing Dr. Dredd get better during this tournament. And V-Diva with an apex jump. We'll call it off before Dr. Dredd can reach the pack, but of course, you know, you've got to get out of the pack to get that call off and keep the point score low when V-Diva is on the track.
Usually apex jumper refers to jumping some part of the apex, but she actually got from one side of the apex to the other on that jump.
Yeah, those are huge.
That was like a track jump. She just jumped the track.
Absolutely.
That was bananas. But good job on KC for limiting it to one scoring pass as opposed to the last couple of jams she's had.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch these on WFTDA.tv archives. Trauma for Kansas City, lead jammer, and she can make quick work of a track herself, coming in hard.
Tarantula actually hit to the outside there and cycled back. But now so is Trauma, courtesy of Wax Poetic.
Trauma with a beautiful move, trying to get through, got knocked at the last second.
She sees Tarantula coming, so she calls off the jam. Did she get anything out of that? 2 points.
So Kansas City has been getting some lead jam calls here the last couple, but unable to capitalize with very much. Philly doing a better job of preventing them from scoring when they do have lead jam thus far.
I believe I saw, was that 5 out of 6 lead jams for V-Diva?
Kansas City with 7 lead jam calls, Philly with 10, and that is evident on the scoreboard as Philly has doubled up right now, but still early in this bout.
And that is, once again, number 18, Vanessa V-Diva Sides, pushing through in the inside, lead jammer for Philly Liberty Bells. And V-Diva finds a hole on the outside, looks at Bruiser waiting for her, shrugs off a hit for a quick 5 there, Raucous Ron.
Rumbrecker stuck in this pack, having a difficult time with the wall of Philly by herself. He makes you think they ought to do some offensive blocking.
Well, they're trying to put the defense down.
Yeah.
But V-Diva is not making it easy. That's another 5-point scoring pass.
Well, my thought is if you're not stopping the other jammer anyway, may you as well get yours through and then stop the scoring blast.
Exactly.
You know,
exactly.
if they're power jamming up and on you with your, you know, power jam-like thing.
Get that initial pass. Yeah. Go offense, make the opening, get it together, because there's another scoring pass.
Again, slicing through, but continuing to drop back to the back in the defensive position. If it's not working, you got to change it.
Especially when there's a high impact jammer like that, and not every team has them. But when you have that high impact jammer, it's all about limiting the damage and getting him off the track and getting someone else on. Finally able to push open that defense. Rumbrecker gets her initial pass.
So once again, the thing fairly even except for these monster jams. I'd be curious to know how many points she's at, you know, on these big multi-scoring passes.
And it looks like they're going to push another. Yeah, V-Diva's just going to rely on her defense because got the jammer lap point. It looks like Rumbrecker got through again, so they traded 4 on that last one.
That was a 34-point jam there for Vanessa Sides.
That puts her past the century mark. But yeah, I think going forward, Kansas City should just put all their money on offense when V-Diva's out there. Just assume that she's going to get lead and get the jammer out as quick as possible and limit it to one scoring pass.
Yeah, particularly when V-Diva's on the floor. So for Kansas City,
Castro making an opening for Brazilian Knight on the inside. I've been a Castro fan for many, many years, I'd just like to say.
Me too. Love all the skaters on all these teams. We do have the Kansas City jammer through, Ruth Canal.
She was able to push 20 feet out for initial pass.
Ruth Canal hits a skater and gets knocked down.
That was Hot Rod Hussey with a takedown. It looks like both teams are going to just trade points right now.
Man, what intense hitting packs. This is Bruise City out here.
Ruth Canal up against the triangle defense in front.
Oh, I love the way Ruth continues to fight. Always, always fighting.
Brazilian Nut 1 lap behind. They're probably going to trade 4 points here. And Brazilian Nut's going to just call it even, call it off.
Yeah, Ruth Canal's been consistently awesome for a very long time. We've enjoyed having her on the team.
Well, that looks like halftime, sir.
Oh my goodness.
It's, yeah, I mean, we got the score 160 to 69. Kansas City fighting to stay in it. Most of these points, you look at the score differential, it's more than V-Diva's share of points. So that's the big impact thing happening right here. So it's all about neutralizing V-Diva in the second half.
Yeah, I would say that is the key to the game for Kansas City, is to neutralize these huge jams. Even with their jammer on the floor, you know, they're getting massive point scoring against them. Play offense.
Yeah, absolutely. Offense. Don't even worry about lead jammer. Just offense, get the opening, hold it to 1, and then put your money into everyone else. Put your money into those other jams with the other jammers who you're doing a better job defending against.
Absolutely, I would agree with you. We're going to check off for a little while here.
Hey there, folks. This is Phil Dirt reporting at you. I'm going to give you a few stats breakdowns as we go into the second period. Leading all jammers in points was V-Diva of Philadelphia with 112 points. That's 112 points. Currently 6 out of 7 lead jammers, 1 penalty. Coming in second for Philly is Clam Jammer. 17 points, 1 for 4, and 3 penalties on her. Rump Wrecker off Kansas City Warriors leads with 25 points. Oddly, never lead jammer, 0 for 3, but still able to pick up 25 points. 1 penalty minute or 1 penalty trip for her. Ruth Canal coming in second with 15 points, 4 for 5 on lead jammers. Very light penalty game. Philadelphia sitting with 17 trips to the box. Kansas City with 10. I would say key to the game, stop V-Diva or continue to jam V-Diva. Those are your keys to the game. Back to you, Jake and Ron.
Fantastic analysis there. Well, I would say that would be very accurate. The big thing is switch to offense. I really hope KC went back there and maybe analyzed what happened and decided to play some more offense. You can stick with one pattern, or you're playing too long. You have to change it up when it's not working. And Kansas City has got to be a little more aggressive in getting their jammer out of the pack.
Well, the idea is you got a neutralizer, and you have 2 options. Defense, it's not working. Offense, it's the only way to go. You offense, hold it to 1 scoring pass. Offense, get out front. That's it.
Yeah, or even 2 scoring passes, but not 34-point jams with your jammer on the track. So
we're comfortable with single digits right now.
Yeah. Well, Kansas City still a shot in this one, I would say. We've got a whole half of a roller derby game to play here, and these teams are hitting each other hard and going for it. We'll have V-Diva starting off, lead jammer, got
and
Trauma.
Look what happened, Raucous Ron. First thing, they opened up a hole for Trauma on the inside as soon as V-Diva got out, and they got front.
And there's V-Diva. V-Diva calling it off, but Trauma getting into the pack for 2 points. That's exactly what they needed to do. So
literally exactly. That was it, literally exactly.
Yeah.
Your wish came true. They went at halftime. They talked about this. They assessed. They analyzed, and they came out offense.
Gotta do it.
We'll
now
check in with our unofficial stats, but is that the least amount she scored on a jam? I'm wondering.
Seems so. Dr. Dredd for Kansas City.
And that is Teflon Donna up in the jammer rotation in this second period.
Dr. Dredd being recycled around a referee.
Teflon Donna picking off 1 blocker at a time for Kansas City.
Dredd still digging for a hole. Meanwhile,
that's lead jammer there. She was able to get 20 feet assessed. Annie Mall the whole time going offense for Dr. Dredd.
Boy, Tarantula is giving Dr. Dredd a hard time here. Has knocked her out of bounds several times in this bout.
Quick pass through a multiplayer call for Teflon Donna for quick 5.
I'd say that Tarantula might owe Dr. Dredd a drink at the after party.
Inside pass there for Teflon Donna. Now that they put all their money on neutralizing V-Diva, Teflon Donna's going to come out and be like, well, I want all the points now.
And Dredd continuing to fight through the blockers, but then getting knocked out somewhere towards the front of the pack. She's finally through. That's important.
Oh, we had 3 blockers in the penalty box now for Philly.
Well, that'll make it easier to get some points, hopefully. And spinning around the block, taking it and using the momentum, Dr. Dredd, 4 points.
Well, Kansas City can lock down D here. They do force the call off, but they will start with a 4-2 blocker advantage. Only 2 points on the last pass for Teflon Donna, but she did do some damage there. 181 Philly to 75 KC. Team timeout for Philly Liberty Bells.
So I hope the second half gets closer, and you know, Kansas City builds some momentum just for the sake of the excitement. But I am enjoying the individual matchups on the track. It is great to see these awesome skaters competing, despite Philly having that big score, 181 over Kansas City 75.
I mean, I can watch Bruiser and Animal on every jam, and I pretty much get to, so that's always a good time. Like I said, so many of these players have played each other so many times. I failed to mention Castro earlier until I was reminded. Oh yeah, one of my favorite players. Always someone who's in the right place at the right time. I saw her at a tournament once. So I was like, I'm a big fan. And she said, she was like, I'm not Mo. And I was like, no, I know who you are. I know you're Castro. I'm a fan.
Yeah, I'm a fan of all these girls out here on the track. Been watching them for years, attending those WFTDA tournaments and championships. I was a fan first. Kansas City, I started out as a fan of my sister, who helped them win the 2007 World Championship. That was Xavier.
Oh, yeah. I remember Xavier.
Ruth Canal looking for the front. She knifes through past Tarantula. She's got lead jammer, clam jammer on her tail.
She was hit to the inside, but she passed that skater out of play. It was not a cut for any of the watchers.
Ruth Canal through the pack, calls it off.
Clam jammer, very dangerous. It came up and hit Animal in the back. Animal went up a little bit further. That would have been a back block, but she held her to no points on that, so Animal's very happy about it.
Yeah, fist pumps in the air. Kansas City taking a little different approach. They haven't had coaches for years, and right now they've got Dirty Larry of Your Mom Men's Roller Derby, the champs, MRDA champs, coaching them, along with Suicide Snow Cone. These guys are great, and they're doing a good job. Vanessa Seitz, lead jammer, cuts through on the inside.
And cut is drawn courtesy of number 1818, Ann Frankenstein. Hops back just far enough, and that's a power jam for Philly, let alone V-Diva. Vanessa Seitz.
So they slow her down, but don't knock her out. Hits just bounce off of V-Diva.
And Ann Frankenstein going for offense. I mean, this is a rare case where I can say that V-Diva may not need it. I love the extra effort, though. It means you're capitalizing on the power jam. And that's the game right now.
Philly happy to be in the lead right now, but they're not letting up. Continuing the point scoring barrage with V-Diva.
Well, that's the danger. It's all about rankings now, so you have to keep pushing the score.
Tell you, one of the few people who's been effective at knocking her out of bounds. Tough noogies there. Nearly did again.
But it's good that Trauma comes back, instantly gets through, instantly forces the call off, instantly neutralizes the damage done.
Love to watch Trauma skate. Such a fluid style all over the track. Incredible lateral movement and skates 360 degrees. And I think that's another one of the things about the future of the game, is that the skaters, you know, the ones that can spin around and they skate just as well sideways, backwards, frontwards. That's really where it's at. You see that with the top skaters.
It's getting to be a requirement with the top teams. It looks like Brazilian Nut there jamming for Philly.
Gets some offensive help, breaks free.
And Philly's defense resets to the front to catch Peter Gabriel. Tarantula with the big hit to the inside, drawing her back.
So Brazilian Nut now knocked to the outside by Noogies.
Bruiser with the catch, and then it's both jammers up against four walls here. Not so long, number 99, Russian Bayou goes for a little offensive screen work for Philly.
Peter Gabriel falling down in the back of the pack, having a tough time getting through here.
Didn't catch the penalty there. There's, oh wow, power jam for KC. I'm afraid I did not see the penalty.
I did not see it, but Peter Gabriel yet to make her initial pass and being recycled right now, so that's a penalty killing move.
Nice offense. They got the trap offense going for KC. Initial pass for Peter Gabriel.
Peter Gabriel adjusting herself a little bit, like just came out of battle, getting ready to go in again.
Attacking the outside. Bruiser does try to create the opening for Peter Gabriel. She'll get at least one scoring pass out of this power jam. There it is, 5 points.
Excellent work, Peter Gabriel standing up to the big blow of Frankenstein.
Brazilian
Nut in bounds.
Brazilian Nut quickly to the inside for her to collect all 4 of those points.
And Peter Gabriel grabbing some points too.
Swing and a miss from Tarantula in the front. Gets around the inside of Van Frankenstein for 4 points. Nice run, Peter Gabriel.
I believe we are seeing the evolution right here of Peter Gabriel. I have never seen her play this well. That, her first apex jump, maybe, especially on this level. Phenomenal. Goosebumps. Great to see such a young skater have success against a good team like Philly.
Very quickly, I want to throw down for number 99, Russian Bayou, on that last offensive opening on that last pass, creating a quick scoring pass for her jammer. I try to reward blockers for offense as much as possible because I love the offense.
Me too.
And let's be real, they don't get the credit that they're due.
Absolutely. You gotta call it when you see it. Right now, Teflon Donna grinding with Annie Mall. Annie Mall falls down. Barbarian whiffs, and we've got Rump Wrecker in the back of the pack getting some blocking help now. She is free on her initial pass, but Teflon Donna knifing underneath the outside.
That was beautiful transition offense from KC and answered the offense, but Teflon Donna called it just in time. Transition offense was great. The transition defense not quite as tight because Teflon Donna found that hole there on the outside.
Teflon Donna, such a great veteran. I don't know if there's a smarter skater in the game. Really, plays well, very effective, a leader of her team, and can jam, block in any direction.
The smart to power to utility ratio is about as high as it gets with her.
Right. If you were playing D&D, she'd be fully loaded. All right, V-Diva, lead jammer, but Trauma, noticing Trauma lined up against her more often here because Trauma can definitely get through. Trauma, didn't quite make the apex jump, has to go way back on her own.
That's right. Well, they're both trading points right now. I believe V-Diva is trying to clear the penalty box by staying on there, but Trauma might hit at the last moment. It looks like
Frankie.
Yeah, she went out with her. She passed 2 skaters out of play, so only 2 points for the Trauma.
No pass, no penalty. Notice the way Trauma gets so low up on the hits. She almost goes under him. She's not a short skater, but she gets down low, gets her hip underneath, sneaks under. That's good stuff.
Little Angela Death style there.
Yeah, I would agree.
217 to 93. Philly running away with it, but not the rate that it was going in the first half. They have effectively neutralized V-Diva. They need to find an antidote to Teflon Donna's jams. Lucky for them, Teflon Donna isn't jamming that often. And that is Clam Jammer, yes, Clam Jammer there up front.
And for Kansas City, that's Dr. Dread. Dr. Dredd pushing hard, and a lot of toe step work really developing in that area. Meanwhile, Clam Jammer coming up on Kansas City's wall.
Oh, they
right
go for
through
the
it.
hit. They go for the hit, but they open up the wall. Sometimes you got to reinforce the containment. They try to do the push hit, but it's a dangerous move with jammers at this level. 4-0 there.
I'm enjoying seeing Kansas City, who everybody knows that they are a little weak at the jammer position right now. Their jammers are so young, they're developing jammers, and I have watched over the course of these last 3 games, Philly, Philly, Rose, Texas, that they have really evolved and come on. So that's great to have that kind of growth and development right here at the Big O.
So that is V-Diva out there again, quickly lead jammer, but they did not put trauma up against her. Looks like they're going offense. V-Diva wide open in the center. Right now, Kansas City just don't have the numbers to go offense. There she is, number 22, Ruth Canal with initial pass.
Philly scoring in all but 1 jam in the second half.
V-Diva mixing it up from the front there, Ruth Canal.
Roadhash holding her for a long time, front with tough noogies.
Penalties catching up for both teams, and so V-Diva is running it. And I'm guessing she's running it to clear the penalty box. Nope, she just wanted that extra pass. I don't.
Yeah, she was looking for the call off a little sooner, but
I think so too.
And the coach notices that. So, you got to love the refs out here. These guys are making the very best call that they can all the time, and they don't get it right 100% of the time, but they get it right most of the time. We have veteran, experienced guys out here like Rock that really keep it under control, keep the girls safe, and give us great WFTDA gameplay.
We do have a team timeout here for Kansas City. Is that technical difficulties?
All right, so we got V-Diva at 154 points, a substantial margin of all of the points scored in the bout.
It's about 60% of the points right now for Philly. And there's Teflon Donna lined up to jam for Philly.
Peter Gabriel dancing on the line. Barbarian, gotta love the spirit of these skaters with big smiles, down by over 100 points and smiling and dancing, keeping the groove. Barbarian is a skater who's been developing for years for Kansas City. She was great the last couple of years, and we're seeing her really come into her own and turn into a top-level blocker for Kansas City. I'm a huge fan of Barbarian. Crowd enjoying that. Roadhash and Barbarian breaking it down, along with our Philly coaches. Smiles all along. Start their after party early.
I love how the jammers are just sitting there all stoic. They're just like, nah, we don't care. And there's like, well, no. CNC Music Factory. I know. I've heard this. Can we jam now? I want to jam.
Let's play roller derby, though. The party is over.
Let's get serious about having some fun.
Yeah, Teflon Donna and Peter Gabriel. See if Peter Gabriel can lay down the sledgehammer.
Let's see if she can shock the monkey. Oh, wow. Teflon Donna can't be touched right through the middle of their lead jammer.
Bounced off her like Teflon.
And Peter Gabriel gets out with her sledgehammer. Teflon Donna pushing it, but Peter Gabriel
even though Peter Gabriel is in there scoring points as well. An effort to run the clock down.
And so doing some bench clearing. Well, so much for that. The bench is going back into the penalty box.
Peter Gabriel threw for 4.
Well, just in time to clear Tarantula out of the... No, Tarantula was not seeing the penalty box. She was ready to go out as a pivot, but the pivot's in the penalty box.
Noticing a pattern here with Kansas City putting out Trauma whenever V-Diva is on the track. So I think they had a couple of halftime adjustments to that effect. How do we neutralize her, traumatize her, and switch to offense on her?
I like dynamic lineups, and I think it's something that Derby needs more of. So we're seeing an example of it working here right now. V-Diva lead jammer, but Trauma able to get out once again. It's been consistent almost every time, Raucous Ron.
Yeah, that is right. They've found something there, you know, I'm sure. And you know, one of the great things about WFTDA.tv is people are going to be watching these archives and studying these teams for when they play them, and they're going to be like, hey, look at the adjustments Kansas City made in the second half to try and contain V-Diva, and that is one of them. Put out an extremely effective jammer against her who's not going to get stuck in the pack very often.
Brazilian net on the line for Philly.
And of course, Trauma demonstrating clearly why she is on Team USA. Fantastic work. Ruth Canal for Kansas City.
All Philly defense up front, holding on to Ruth Canal.
Kansas City holding Brazilian nut in a 4-wall.
I like
a nutcracker.
Well played. No, I like the steadiness, the slowness, and the tightness of Kansas City's roll right now. Bruiser gets the drop back. And Ruth Canal pushes out 20 feet. Lead jammer, Kansas City.
Well, that took a while, but it was exciting. We saw lots of good action on that jam.
And more important, you got the L, and that's what Kansas City wants right now. Why did Ruth Canal call that off when it was still the initial pass for Brazilian nut?
Oh, maybe she had a little confusion there. Didn't realize she was in position to put 4 on.
Well,
Did
it
look
looks
like
like
she passed.
she's skating off, holding on to her hip. Maybe she got a big hit and she didn't want to continue. Still, you need to capitalize on your opportunities when you got them. You have to push it. If it's the initial pass of your opponent jammer, you just keep going. That's just time off the clock that V-Diva isn't skating. You know what I'm saying?
Wow, V-Diva knocked to the inside out of bounds, got right back inside, and toe stop down the line.
Oh, that would probably be a direction of play call.
I would say so. We call that one from right here.
Where I have betting, man. Trauma cycled it back on the initial pass there.
Yeah, Ram said, what are you doing? We're going the other way.
Okay, now that Trauma's recovered, she makes the initial pass. And that's 5 for V-Diva on that pass.
Trauma engaged. V-Diva running over everyone.
Is that going to be going to...
Yeah.
Yep, that's V-Diva with the low block there. Power jam for Trauma. And it's a good thing Trauma's out there for the power jam because she can usually get those passes herself. And as I say that, she cycled to the back.
And moving a little slow herself here in recycling, trying to gather herself, I gather. Even the great ones need a breath now and then.
After 3 bouts, I'd say. Tarantula with the hit out this time.
This is the first power jam in the second half for Kansas City. That's quite a statistic with 13 remaining in the half. So Philly keeping their jammers out of the box, I guess.
I mean, that's always been, Philly's always been fairly good about keeping their skaters on the track and making that a priority.
So we had Tarantula knocking, but I thought Tarantula fell to her knees.
Yeah, but there was a couple of people standing in front of Tarantula that Trauma hopped back in front of.
Oh, so you got it. You got it.
Yeah, Tarantula was not available for the cut track, but there was a couple of people. As soon as she stepped back in, I was like, yeah, that's going to be a cut.
Right, and then just now we saw V-Diva go by as Philly had formed a a tight seal on Kansas City's defense. Getting a little worn down now, but 12 minutes of action remaining. Got a lot more to see here. Philly up 267, Kansas City ///.
Teflon Donna up in the line for Philly.
And Casey's jammer in the box, so a power jam for Teflon Donna. It's a good person to have in there.
Yeah, she's going to capitalize. She's going to break through the wall. Philly's wall already waiting for trauma. Bruiser and Annie Mall, they're holding on to the nice wall for Teflon Donna.
Yeah, Kansas City really holding it up there, but Trauma threw on her initial pass.
Shrugs off a hit from Annie Frankenstein on the outside to get through there. Forcing the call off from Teflon Donna that comes a little late.
And yeah, she was obviously pinning the hands to the hips there.
Philly fans have something to say about that. But you know what? They're still ahead.
That is true. You can't get too upset when you're, you're that far out front. That always gets me.
That's not a moment that's going to decide the bout. That's all I'm saying.
Definitely. And Clam Jammer.
Clam Jammer.
Lead Jammer.
Lead Clam Jammer. Already Clam Jammer up against 3-wall and just navigating the middle for the inside pass. Quick 5 for Clam Jammer.
Peter Babriel cycled back again. Tarantula, just a monster tarantula. At drop skaters out, you know, driving them to the line, bumping them out. A specialist.
Pushes past Bruiser for another 5 points. High block on Castro there. Taking her to the penalty box. Clam Jammer around the outside.
5 more for Philly.
Philly's starting to really run away with this in the last 10 minutes here. Finally, a hit lands on Clam Jammer. They're dropping her back, and the initial pass. Initial pass, yes. Not a cut. Initial pass on Peter Babriel.
Yeah, I saw the hands crossed too, and so Clam Jammer continuing this scoring run, but Peter Babriel up against the wall. She had so much of a hard time with already on this jam.
Well, Clam Jammer is pushing in to get Castro. They got that, and so they have an advantage of scoring lap here, so she might as well keep going.
Quite the day for Kansas City, facing Texas in that big loss, and then Philly, a tough Philly team. Both teams really hungry for a win, and you could tell Philly came out to play hard. And again, Tarantula with the push out and the forced cut track on Peter Babriel.
Another 5 points for Clam Jammer. She gets out. That's 2 minutes. I have a feeling we're going to see a few more 2 minutes. It's Clam Jammer's biggest jam, 24 points for her.
Chance of We Are Philly from the crowd.
I believe from people who live in Philadelphia.
That's true. The B team traveling here.
Yeah, I got to call for them earlier. That was a fun bout. B-Diva! Vanessa Sides, 182 points, and a power jam, and a lead jammer.
Yep, driven to the line by Bruce. Couldn't quite get the skates over the edge. Crashing and banging all the way through. Kansas City continuing to fight valiantly here late in this one.
187 points for V-Diva.
And Philly continuing to pour it on Diva style.
192, and Bruiser gets called for a multiplayer block. 197 points for V-Diva. And on this pass, if she completes it, she will break the 200 mark.
Peter Babel joins the defense.
202 points. And 20 points so far in this jam. V-Diva attacking the middle of the wall, goes down there, but it's all shoulder contact, all totally legal. V-Diva calls it as 202 plus, confirming points, keeping us in suspense. That is 205 points for V-Diva there.
Wow, that is a whole bundle of points. And Philly with 317 points, substantial margin.
That is 2/3 of Philly's points here.
Ruth Canal for Kansas City. A tireless veteran. Knocked to the ground by Tarantula.
Teflon Donna fighting for the middle of that wall. Again, I like the speed and the containment of that wall, but Teflon Donna opens it up on the outside.
Yeah, Kansas City really doing some great things here. So for me, looking at this Kansas City team right now, I'm really proud of the job that they've done to work on some of these things like containment, walls, jammer skills. I think it's a positive growth weekend for Kansas City, despite the losses.
Russian Bayou picked up a multiplayer block. Teflon Donna on a squirty pass up against that just mentioned slow, tight, contained, controlled wall of KC.
Multiplayer block there for Hydrogen Bombshell. Hydrogen Bombshell is another blocker we have a lot of hope for as a youthful, rookie blocker.
5 more points from Teflon Donna.
Big block to Annie Mall, kind of caught her unawares in the front. She pulls up her bootstraps though, like she always does. Of note, this is the final season
for
Annie Mall.
Play. Oh, that's a bummer.
I could barely say it. I got choked up saying it.
It looks like we're going jammer defense there. Tarantula trying to catch up Ruth Canal. And 5 more points for Teflon Donna. After a lot of perseverance and almost 2 minutes of the jam, Ruth Canal makes her initial pass.
Kansas City looking kind of worn down right now, but who could blame them? I mean, earlier today, Texas, and Texas is one of the toughest teams in the world to take on. They hit so hard, as Gotham saw in the championship.
I was going to say, I think statistically second toughest in the world. One of the, in fact, that's verifiable.
Well, we were all concerned coming in and seeing the schedule here for Kansas City, ranked 29th, and then going to take on 6, 3, and 19 in the first 2 days.
It's all smooth sailing from here.
Yeah, right. Just time to go back and work on these skills. And we've got Dr. Dread for Kansas City, Brazilian Nut for Philly.
Gets out on the inside there for lead jammer. 3 minutes, 20 seconds. Probably get 2 more jams. I imagine Philly will be running down the clock from here on out.
Dr. Dread trying to get that separation, but nice bridging by Philly to contain her. Nice recycling.
She stays on her feet, though, gets to the inside. That's the initial pass for Dr. Dread.
Dr. Dread speeding up into the back of the pack, hoping to grab some points before Brazilian Nut calls it off. Looks like she might have.
That's 0-3? Yeah, 3 for Philly.
Not quite getting in there.
Brazilian Nut there on the monitor. I don't know why I called it off. We have an official timeout. I believe it's a review for Kansas City.
Good. I have a shout out I'd like to do. These teams have a lot of people at home that support them. the NSOs, the refs, all those kind of people, and the track crews, the husbands, wives, and a big shout out to all of you at home watching. Thanks for your support.
I got a shout out for Philly. They hate their fans. They want you to stop watching. No, obviously that's not true. A lot of love out here from Philly. We've got a lot of people in blue out here. I know there's a lot of love at home because I spent a lot of time in Philly. Those fans get pretty crazy.
And I'll be headed up to Philly for ECDX. Very, very excited about that. My first time at the Big O, first time at ECDX. Those are some great tournaments. I kind of have been focusing my energy on the WFTDA regionals or divisionals, depending on when it was, the championships, those sorts of things. But great to be here with you, Jake.
Thank you, Raucous Ron. Yeah, I enjoy ECDX a lot. I haven't been here in a few years and I missed it.
2.5 minutes remaining.
We're checking in on the official review. Mr. Rock should be heading over afterwards to give us the lowdown. We're going to start this jam with 2:28. So probably 2 jams unless they wind it down and don't call a timeout, which is about the only scenario of getting 1 jam. But
well, and it's going to be an exciting jam because we have V-Diva and Trauma.
Well, if it's going like it's been going the second period, it's going to be a quick jam because V-Diva will get out, Trauma will get out right behind.
V-Diva will score 4 and call it.
And Trauma will sneak in and grab 1 or 2 in the meantime.
Right. Statistically, that is probable, I guess.
Nah, but Casey's showing what you need to do. Dynamic lineups. Dynamic lineups. What do we mean by dynamic lineups? You set whoever's out there against whoever your opponent is. It's the way the game has to go. You're playing Rose City, you have to have your Scald lineup. You're playing Philly, you have to have your V-Diva lineup. You're playing Gotham, you have to have your Bonnie lineup. You have to have a set, and you even have to set up the lineups when they're not playing. How do you capitalize when those high-impact jammers are out there? How do you capitalize when those high-impact blockers are not out there? There's a lot of you have a lot of opportunity there for that. So you have to look at that, or else you're just setting them up. If you just do a random rotation blocker setup, then you're going to set up a mismatch, and those high-impact jammers or blockers are going to capitalize big time on it.
Yeah, I could not agree more. You've got somebody like Tough Noogies on the team that can bump V-Diva out of bounds and has shown effectiveness at it. Maybe each time you see her come up to the line, throw in your Tough Noogies.
On the last pass of that jam, the white jammer passed 2 black blockers and 1 black blocker in the box, and will be rewarded 3 points instead of 0. They will retain their official review for this half.
Okay, so Kansas City, that's what I thought. Dr. Dread came into the pack. The jam has not been called. She sliced in. I was kind of wondering why they didn't assess points for her. They had 0 to 3 or something on that on that pass, but Dr. Dread picking up her points late in this one. 2.5 minutes remaining. V-Diva powers through the middle of the line, and so does Trauma. That's a rundown. We already know what's going to happen. We called it.
We called that. We saw that coming. Here comes V-Diva on the wall.
Is V-Diva going to get any points before Trauma does?
Trauma sneaks through. Let's do the count. 2 for Trauma, 2 for V-Diva.
Oh, wow. High fives over here. We predicted it.
Yep.
We're psychic.
You're welcome.
Just Jake. Raucous Ron, you can get a hold of us for psychic advice.
We got lottery numbers for you. Not that it was a really hard read. We had
a lot of...
We've only seen it every jam they've gone out together the second period.
A lot of anecdotal evidence, I guess,
exactly.
Not very scientific. We don't have anything in our stat sheets to show us that, but here's V-Diva.
Why not? Stay out there, lead jammer.
Let's just do it again. Well, this time, Trauma getting trapped a little bit. Looks like... Oh, no. We've got... Oh, not Trauma. Rump wrecker.
And here's evidence. They could have kept Trauma out there to neutralize it, but Rump wrecker, to her credit, gets past Tarantula out front for initial pass. We have V-Diva calling it with 4 points, 4-0 there. That's going to leave time for one more jam. Maybe more.
Very impressive rump wrecker coming into this one as a rookie and demonstrating throughout this tournament that she has a place on this team.
Well, good on her for neutralizing V-Diva right there.
Really,
really, Trauma is the only one who has successfully, repeatedly done that. And so to step into that role, probably unexpectedly.
And here we have Trauma on the final jam.
Trauma on the mismatch that favors KC, lead jammer Trauma.
So yeah, now we've got Clam Jammer. Does break free along the outside. Trauma makes it look like there's no blockers out there for Philly.
And no, they're going to let her skate. They're going to let her skate. Quick pass there for Clam Jammer.
Trauma says, I haven't had enough today, so I'm just going to stay out here and keep it going. Clock winding down.
Yeah, I think they're going to run off the clock and call it with this jam.
Probably a good call.
Well, they're going to limit the damage done to them. 2 more points there for Trauma. That's going to be the end of the period clock. Raucous Ron.
Well, you know, we saw a lot more exciting bout than the score would indicate here. And again, it's the individual matchups between these teams. The great work of people like Tarantula, you know, those beautiful hits we were seeing on the floor. Frankenstein really coming into her own. Teflon Donna demonstrating that she's one of the most versatile skaters in the game. Kansas City getting better all the time.
Well, what I like, I mean, we talked about the half. What I liked about Kansas City is they switched the lineups there. There's Philly going for their victory lap. They switched the lineups there. They put out Trauma every time, almost every time, with V-Diva, neutralized her incredible scoring. But Philly, on the other hand, started putting out Teflon Donna to get the run-up scores on there. They pushed the lead. This is going to work out very well for Philly in the rankings, I imagine.
Definitely. I think both teams are improving. A pleasure to watch them skate here and a pleasure to announce with you, Jay.
Absolutely, sir. Pleasure's all mine, Raucous Ron. Good opportunities for KC moving forward. I think they set themselves up for a very successful season. I think Philly's looking strong once again. In just a second, we're going to hand it down to the Derby Deeds desk.
Look at all the smiles for KC on the floor. Of note, they're all smiling, having a good time, and that's the point of the Big O and a big tournament like this. Get the experience, have a good time, positive attitudes all the way around in this bout.
Yeah, it looked like they were having fun out there. It looked like they were, like even at the end there, you know, V-Diva and Trauma were putting our arms around each other like, all right, let's do this again. Coming up next, we have Texas Rose City here on track 1. I will dare lay down that will be the bout of the weekend.
I'm so excited. That is going to be a true test for Rose. We already know Texas is as strong as they ever were. Rose is looking even stronger than last year. They're really put it together, as evidenced in this tournament so far. And just to see this matchup is going to really tell a whole lot.
And we're going to check in right now to the Derby Deeds desk. We got some very special guests down there. Raucous Ron, it was a pleasure.
Oh yeah, Just Jake with a great call.
Hello and welcome to the DerbyDeeds.com event desk here at the Big O in Eugene, Oregon. We're brought to you by Adam Wheels and their new Boom Wheels lineup that you can find at any roller derby skate shop near you. We just watched the Philly versus Kansas City game. We are happy to be joined by Teflon Donna. Hello, Teflon Donna.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you. How was the game for you?
You know, Kansas City is always a very physical and mental game. They're always on top of their transitions. They play hard, and we just went into it prepared for a big fight, and I'm really happy with the way our team performed today.
What were your goals going into the game?
Our goals going into the game, I think we turned up a little short in the first period against Rose. our second period against Rose, we really came through and it felt like a win to us in that second period. So we wanted to carry that momentum over here because we kept saying if we had a third period for Rose, maybe that outcome could have been a little bit different. So our goal was really to carry that momentum from that second period and make it a third period here to start with Kansas City.
What do you feel like was the adjustment you made from that game specifically?
I think not rolling from the start when the jammer attacked our walls. I feel like Rose did a really good job of setting up the offensive pick. Whether they went for it on the initial jam start or not was another story, but that gave us a little hesitation and caused us to roll right off the start and put us in a bad situation at the start of the jam. So it was really to hold strong and try not to roll off the start.
You guys are no stranger to coming over to the West Coast to play multi-day events. How is the Big O treating you so far?
So far, so good. We actually took an extended break this season. We came back in March, and this is kind of the first experience for us in terms of tournament play, playing some big teams and playing under the new rule changes. So I think we're happy we're here. We're learning a lot from the games we're playing, and I think it's going to set us up nicely for the remainder of the season having this experience. So we're happy to be here.
Right on, right on.
Tomorrow morning, Texas. What do you do different?
Our game against Texas at ECDX last season was a big disappointment for us. We worked really hard following that game, and we played really competitively against them at divisionals. They look just as strong, even better than they did at divisionals. They played really well at champs. We know it's going to be a fight, but we're going to go in and we're going to fight that battle tooth and nail and hope for a really good outcome.
Rock on. Well, we have Phil Dirt, who was running stats.
Hey
okay,
there.
hi.
V-Diva managed to score 216 points in that game. How do you think she did out there?
She did better than I could have hoped for. She really kept her mental focus. She did exactly what we asked her to do in terms of keeping jams going when we wanted to keep jams going. And she really performed well out there. She's a powerhouse. And when she's on top of her game, she's unstoppable. So good performance from Diva.
Definitely. You guys, Philly, that is, only out of 21 jams, lead jammer all but 3 times in the second half. Amazing powerhouse. You yourself came out in only 5 jams, racked up 57 points, and only jammed in the second half. Did you feel you weren't needed in the first half, just on reserve, or?
Yeah, why did you jam in the second half?
I jammed in the second half because my bench manager told me to jam in the second half, to be honest.
Answer.
We are a team that really strives to have players that are multifaceted, that can both jam and block. And, this is early in the season. We want to get people the experience. And, I'm one of those people who can jam and block, and I need the practice and gameplay just as much as everybody else does. So that's probably why I didn't see any jamming time in the first period, but did in the second.
So, Phil, what were some of the keys of the game that you guys were talking about up during the announcing?
Primarily, we were talking about after the break was containing V-Diva and play V-Diva. Those were the 2 keys, one for each team. She single-handedly outscored, now not single-handedly, of course, because wouldn't get through if there weren't any blockers.
Right.
Great work by the Philadelphia blockers up there containing her. Also, not a lot of penalties in this game.
Right.
For as hard hitting as it looked out there, not a lot of people going to the box. Very few power jams. Only 2 power jams in the first half. There were 3 power jams right off the bat for Kansas City. You guys managed to rein that back in. And what did the coach have to say to get you guys to calm down at the very beginning of the game?
We try to come out strong. 30-second penalties gives us that ability, I think, to come out a little bit strong and sort of challenge that. But when you get a couple of jammer penalties right off the bat, you do need to start reining it in. And that's all that they're asking of us is come out, play physical, play to your full ability in the beginning. And if we find that we're going to get in penalty trouble, let's rein it in a little.
Maybe send a message right off the bat, take a couple of extra penalties. Not on purpose, of course.
There was a moment there where it almost went into revolving door jammer penalties, and you all made a good adjustment to rein it back in, focus on smart offense, I think. I didn't see anybody go to the box again for quite some time.
You know, I think the other adjustment was the blockers. The blockers settled in as well after the first couple of jams, and when you can hold an opposing jammer for multiple scoring passes, that allows your jammer to sort of breathe a little bit easy, know that the defense is strong, and that the defense is doing everything they can to hold the jammer, and you could just do your job as a jammer and keep racking up those points.
One thing that we have noticed, that the internet has noticed, is that you guys are using radio communication on the back of your helmet, your jammer helmets.
No, that's our mid-jam snack.
Is it?
Yeah, you know, mid-jam, reach back there, have a little snack.
Are they Teddygrams? Please tell me they're Teddygrams.
Ooh, that's a good idea. Teddygrams next time.
Can you talk about that at all?
Sure. I know that in one of the tournaments last season, that another team had used them. We're trying them out in terms of communication with our jammers. It's becoming a benefit beyond just timely call-offs for us, so I definitely think it's something that we're trying out. We're trying to fix some of the kinks early on in the season. We've tried in the past to do something similar. This seems to be working the best, but it's definitely noticeable by everybody.
Right.
I like the snazzy idea to fix it to the jammer panty itself. So what is the mechanics going on within that panty?
It's a speaker.
Yeah.
It's a speaker, so anybody can actually. The speaker is sewn in. It's a little pocket that's sewn in, so the speaker goes right into it. And if it's turned up loud enough, I mean, the entire pack, I guess, could hear, but it's not turned up that loud.
So what sort of communication do you guys get?
Like I said, timely call-offs, but I think the benefit more than anything is defense is really tough these days, and having that person in your ear saying, keep pushing, you're doing great, that's exactly what I want to see from you. Sort of that positive reinforcement is really, really nice. Also knowing that, hearing that your pack is holding them, and knowing that you've got all the time in the day to just keep pushing forward.
Right.
It's really positive in that sense.
Cool.
So I think it's that added benefit there.
I walked by Kansas City's bench and during the second half, and they seemed pretty lighthearted. They were joking around and having a good time. Did that show up on the track? Were they pretty? You know, they can get frustrated. You're down by a lot. How'd that play out on the track? I
don't feel like it took away from their focus on the track. During that extended timeout when the jam ref had some equipment issues, they were a little bit more happy-go-lucky dancing on the track, and we didn't really play into that. So that carried over, but once the whistle blew, they were focused.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry, something just happened behind us that was very loud, so I was a little distracted there. Any questions for you?
No. I wanted to know about the panty, and I know.
Did we talk about the score?
Yes, the final, 358 for Philly to Kansas City 130. So just over 200-point margin. How focused are you guys on the point margin? We've been talking about this a lot with the ranking system.
I think this season we're a little bit more focused on the point differential, just because we feel like we're a pretty competitive team. We seem to be able to play pretty competitively with some of those higher ranked teams. And yep, our ranking continues to drop, and so we keep trying to figure out what it is we need to do. And so some of that is the point differential, some of it is recognizing our opponent's strength, and I think that the changes that are made this time around with the rankings should benefit us a little bit, given that we come into this tournament ranked 22, and most of our opponents are ranked above us, and so their strength factor is more heavily weighted. And so if we can perform well, not necessarily even pull out a win, but if we can perform competitively against these teams, it's really going to help us.
Right on. Well, thank you very much for joining us, and I really appreciate you sitting down and talking to us about all this.
Great, so thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Congratulations.
And good luck tomorrow.
Yeah, good luck.
Thank you so much.
You are welcome to sit here and talk Texas versus Rose City with us, or if you need to split, we totally understand.
I need to split.
Right.
Got some paperwork to do and some team meetings to have.
All right, go take it. Thank you very much. All right, so
I'm really late for my next out.
Sorry about that, read the rules. So we have an update from the Rattle Skates game on track 3.
Yes, they finished that game out. Bridgetown ended up winning that game 253 points to the Rattlescapes 58 points. Again, this is, I think, what we expect from Bridgetown.
On track 2, we had tracks 2 and 3, we had juniors games. Santa Cruz taking on Lava City. Santa Cruz won that game 274 to 169. And at the half on track 3, we had the Emerald City Junior Gems above the Humboldt Redwood Saplings, 171 to 55. So right now, we are getting ready for Texas versus Rose City, which is going to be the biggest game of the night and possibly one of the best games of the weekend.
And how?
The last time that Rose City and Texas met up head-to-head was back in May of 2012, so 2 years ago. Rose City won that game 149 to 117. Right now, Rose is ranked 5th in the WFTDA, Texas is ranked 3rd. We have seen both of these teams play this weekend. They're both playing very well. They both matched up against Kansas City. Texas winning that game 555 points to 73. Rose City winning 407 to 50. What do you guys think about Rose City versus Texas?
Watching their B teams go at it today was an amazing game in itself, and I think both of these teams having programs, both leagues having programs as opposed to just strictly A teams and B teams being separate. So I think we're going to see a lot of hard hitting. I think the big key to the game, and what we saw earlier today in the B team games, penalty box. Got to keep your skaters on the floor. Rose City just was not able to keep their skaters on the floor, and Texas will take advantage of that.
Yeah.
Texas is going to come out with a lot of hard hits.
They come out with a lot of that.
You'll probably hear a lot of that, but they also live for that motto. So they're going to come out, they're going to try and force a lot of penalties. They're going to try and get into Rose City's heads. And that's going to be a hard thing for Rose City Rose City historically not the lightest penalty team.
Right.
So whoever can contain the penalties for Texas, I think, got to contain Scald Eagle. Number one, contain the Jammers, specifically Scald
I think
Eagle.
it's going to be really interesting to see one of the sport's strongest individual offensive players in Scald Eagle up against the sport's strongest team defense, right? I mean, Texas's defense is incredibly patient, incredibly slow. Scald needs a bit of room to make it work and typically gets enough offense to get the inch of room she needs. I'm really excited to see those matchups. I think this game in a lot of ways, I think it's going to be closer than some of the odds are kind of putting it at. I think Rose City's hungry. I think they're on an upswing in general. I think some of it's going to come down to the administrative pieces. I've seen some teams leave some timeouts on the board in this tournament. When it's close, I'm curious about that. I want to see challenges used in a really competitive, compelling way. I want to see a full game, including coaching. And they both have excellent coaching staffs, so I expect to see that too. The talent's on the track, but I think there's the other pieces also.
I think getting the right lineup out there is going to be incredibly important for the coaches, both realizing who's performing well, who's maybe not having the best night, who's getting shut down. We saw that also in the B team game where they weren't making the adjustments that they needed to, kept sending out jammers that were only getting penalties after penalties after penalties, but continued playing them. And sometimes you have to look at your piece of paper, take it, set it over there, and just put out who's hot. So we'll see how well we get. And again, these are different coaches for the floor, but same program. So we'll see if they're able to adapt.
You want to hit that?
We're looking at Flat Track Stats, and Flat Track Stats gives this the 90% differential to Texas. But the expected score ratio is only 9 points to 5 points. So I really don't know how this is going to go. Rose City is playing better than we have seen them play in a long time. They've consistently been a really good team, and they have gotten to the postseason and not done as well as they would have liked. But we're early in the season right now, and with Texas's plan as to peak later in the season, where they're trying to get to Nashville and championships, I think that it's going to be a very interesting matchup between these two, and like you were saying, Texas's defense versus Rose City's jammer lineup is going to be amazing to watch as a fan, for the very least.
Well, I'd like to point out that when you rely heavily on one jammer, it's easy to isolate that one jammer and make a 90% win out of it, right? So it's hard to say. What do I think is going to happen? I think that Flat Track Stats probably has it pretty darn close. It's going to be probably a reasonably large score gap.
You think large score gap?
Yeah, reasonably large, right?
I think it very well could come down to. I'm going to predict it's going to stay closer for longer than we think it would have, and I think it's going to be a matter of who finishes strongest. We've seen a lot of games that way this weekend. Teams tend to train for the first 45 minutes and then the last 15. Not that these teams don't train that way, but I'm curious to see the last 15 minutes, the finishing power of Rhodes versus Texas.
Who's left standing at the end of this game?
It's going to be a battle. Yeah.
And how?
As we saw talking to Smarty Pants last night, Texas does have a very large and deep jammer bench. So they played against Ole with their lineup, and then when they came back from the half, they started putting in other jammers. They put in Fifi Namanon, and she had a very successful night in the second half jamming against Ole. So if they do something similar tonight where they start off with a number of jammers and then they rotate in the second half or at any point during the game, that could be a huge benefit for them.
Well, I mean, Texas has the total package, right? They've got everybody can play everything anytime. They play together well. What they do with Scald Eagle is going to make all the difference in the world because Scald Eagle is relied on pretty heavily for Rose City.
She scored, 60% of their points versus Philly yesterday, so largely a similar performance to V-Diva just now.
Exactly.
Scored 60% of their Philly's points. So, but I mean, Rose has some other great jammers as well. I mean, Much Mayhem's pretty phenomenal. She does a lot of work on the track that when you're stacked up with somebody who's scoring 60% of the points, it's easy to forget that she scores 30%, the other 30%. So they've got a lot of power.
Yeah, but you can't forget why she only gets 30% of the points, and that's because she's young and she's spending a lot of time in the penalty box. Yeah. And so what do you do?
True.
Right?
Some of it can be opportunity too. So some things may happen. Maybe Texas has planned ahead on how to shut down Scald, has a plan. If Scald is neutralized and they make a good coaching decision to give other people opportunity, who knows?
Right.
Yeah.
Others can shine.
You never know who's going to be hot tonight. Anybody could have really had their Wheaties and coming out at 110%.
Correct.
And we haven't talked at all about Rose's defense. And Rose City's defense is very strong.
Yeah, they're a good grinded out team. They're not a big hard hitter too much, but they will grind you down. It will make for a very long day.
They held Kansas City to 50 points across an hour game. So that's an impressive feat, especially when they are also scoring so many points themselves. So that's Texas versus Rose City. I'm picking Texas.
I'm picking Texas, but
Texas.
I got to go with Rose City.
Yay!
I'm not that guy this time. So that's going to be here on track 1. That's going to be starting in about 10 minutes. On track 2, we have Kokeshi, all the way from Japan. They're taking on Arizona Roller Derby's 10th City Terrors.
Yep.
So we're going to be paying close attention to that. That should be a fun game at the very least. Yep. And on track 3, we've got the other international team, Aldriki. They're going to be taking on Sac City after their success this morning. They're going to be riding a good wave. So
they're looking good to win that game.
And Sac City, not so successful against Terminal City earlier. So
no, Terminal City a good team though. So
yeah, so it'll be interesting to see what happens there. And we will be back here after the Texas versus Rose City game to give you the recap on that and the recaps from tracks 1 and 2. And I'm excited. This is going to be a really good game. So stay tuned here on track 1, Texas versus Rose. Track 2, Kokeshi versus Arizona. Track 3, Aldriki versus Sac City. From the DerbyDeeds.com events desk here at the Big O in Eugene, Oregon. Brought to you by Adam Wheels. Huge thanks to Adam Wheels. Huge thanks to Blaze Streaming Media, all of those guys and ladies up there taking care of us, doing an amazing job. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And to everybody out there in Listertown and Viewerville, thank you for your feedback. Thank you for watching. I'm Megatron.
I'm Pitchit.
I'm Teeny.
And I'm Phil Dirt.
Thanks a lot for watching. We'll be back after the Texas versus Rose game.